Oh, there we go. Okay, we're live. Yay! Hi, everyone. Um, okay, so here we are with our cosmic predictions for 2021. We have been feeling a lot, as Andrea and I have been discussing privately, but now we'll discuss it with all of you because the energies have been really accelerating, and I'm sure everybody can feel it. And the one thing that I know we've been talking about so much that I'll just like kind of start out by saying is our psychic abilities are really ramping up. I am feeling it so strongly. And everybody I've been talking to has been feeling the same way, that like right now, and especially this time of year, right? Like this time of year is just, it's when we get to that point where the veil is thinning, and it's a really magical time of year. I also love this time of year because it's my birthday season. My birthday's in November, and I'm about to turn 40. But yeah, so, you know, I feel like always this time of year, but especially this year, we are seeing our psychic abilities ramping up more and more and more. I've had so many different like mystical, crazy experiences, and I know Andrea has too. So if you guys, I'm sure you guys are noticing that too. Andrea, do you want to add to that?
Oh my goodness. So the way that this week in particular, spiritual powers have amped up, you know, I've told you some of the things that have happened to me this week, surreal, crazy things. I couldn't sleep the other night. I got this massive download of light language and all kinds of stuff. It was around 2 a.m. I recorded it and I went to listen to it a second time after I was done. And I hit play on my phone, and all of a sudden the Patti Smith song Elegy started playing. And I was like, what is happening? And my guides were like, we're playing you the songs of your people. And then I looked at all the songs that were like queued up. Kate Bush, PJ Harvey, all of these women who are super inspiring to me. And I was like, fair enough. I was like, things are really amping up. Like, you know, your life, my life, we've always been really in the thick of the psychic magic, but it is unstoppable right now. And wherever you are, it feels so much like whatever point you were on the spectrum, it's just straight up from here. So I've been saying it for months, but buckle up, all of us, because we are in for a wild ride. Because like you said, the veil is always thinning around this time of year anyway. And
yeah, and like the other thing for me that I've noticed a lot is like my ability to feel things in a very deep way has really felt like it's like skyrocketed, or just kind of like just really intense. Like when I've been doing readings with people or working with clients, like not only am I having greater access to information, but I also feel like I'm feeling the information in this deeper way than I ever have before. And it's really like nothing I've ever experienced. I just, and I've been feeling these feelings in my body, and it's almost like an electric current has been running through my body, and I'm figuring out like these different ways to like channel this electric energy. And I don't really know how else to describe it other than, you know, it's the specific energies that I channel are just really ramping up, and it's just like really potent and powerful and needs to like come through me now kind of a thing, where it's like I have to kind of channel and be like a conductor for these energies, it feels like.
yeah. And I have, in that sense of like electricity and like really vibrant magic, I have channeled light language since I was a little kid, and I will get downloads for clients. I have a couple of healings that I use with clients that are things that light language I've downloaded. I've had 5 client sessions this week. Every single one of them, I ended up channeling a ton of light language, to the point that one session was an hour and a half long. And I would say like half of it was me speaking to someone in light language, which is so surreal because I was shown last year that as I started to share more and more of it, that like essentially the world was going to get to a point where they were ready for, because that's my primary language. And now I'm like actively speaking to people to the tune of like 45 minutes, and they leave knowing that I have like transmitted something really powerful to them. I mean, it's really surreal what is happening right now, because you're right. Like the way that we are feeling and experiencing, like whatever our gifts were to begin with,
they're really heightening. And I think we're also understanding gifts that we didn't even realize we had. And I feel like that's happening for a lot of people. Like even for me, like I didn't realize I knew I could tap into past lives, and I knew that I had that ability, but now I'm just seeing past life stuff so clearly. And I didn't really even realize I had that ability before, but also it's also because, and this is something I've been saying, but it's like really still relevant, is like, it's also because right now we're clearing so much karmic past life stuff, because for us to step into this awakening and start to create the new earth, like we have to let go of that. Like it's not even like it's not a question or like if it can happen. It's just like a matter of like it happening and how it's going to happen. So now what I'm really seeing is it's almost like everybody that I see, it feels like they have this like bubbling up of energy that they like need to release like almost immediately so that they can step into their highest timeline. So it's almost like it's right beneath the surface. It's almost like the same kind of idea of like the veil thinning, that this energy is like right beneath the surface. Whereas like maybe like 2 years ago or 5 years ago, it would have been so buried that they wouldn't have access to it. Therefore, I wouldn't have access to it. But now it just feels like it's right below the surface, and it's just ready for somebody to be like, zap with my little electric finger that I now have. I just like zap it and it clears.
Yeah. And that's the thing too, is that I think is like funny and beautiful and magical too about this, is because it's all so close to the surface. Someone like you, someone like me, who have the capacity to help people quickly transmute trauma, we're able to work with people and get them from like 0 to hero in a nanosecond, basically. Because one of the big things about this fall that I'm like really feeling, I know you and I have talked a lot about this, is that there's simply no more time to waste. Like, every person on the planet has psychic gifts. Every single one of us was born into a human body, forgot who we were in a lot of ways, and are going through this really remarkable period of remembering. And now we're at a point where we can't ignore it anymore. It's happening. The veil is so thin. It's happening so palpably. And that's where I think in so many ways, the quantum healing is going to really start to have a much bigger impact. And people like you and me who are here to truly help people awaken to those profound like connections to the divine. Like we all of us in this space, everyone watching, everyone listening, like we really were called to help people remember this stuff. So it's going to be wild to watch it unfold in the collective.
Yeah, and just like the energy and opportunities that are available to us right now is different than anything we've ever seen. And especially in this fourth quarter of the year, it's going to be the most potent and the most powerful. Like I had this thing happen, I think when we were talking on one of our calls, where we were looking at planning for something for December. And when I like pulled up December on my calendar, I got this like rush of like energy where I could like feel the energy of December. And I was like, holy shit, that's going to be a wild one. Like December feels like it's going to be kind of like the shit hitting the fan, and like not necessarily in a bad way. Like it probably is going to look bad in certain ways, like in the world or however it plays out. I don't know exactly like the details, but it definitely feels like that energy of like, it's almost like a tidal wave or like an explosion or like actual shit hitting a fan. Wait, I just want to take a second because there's a bunch of people commenting and I can't see people's names on here. So I just want to look. You can keep talking, but I just want to look and so I can say hi to everyone.
Yeah. You can you do that. And it is just completely remarkable because I have tapped into that too. I had a client ask me a week and a half ago if I could look at something in December for them, and their guides and my guides were like, no. December has so many possibilities right now in terms of the decisions that we all make as a collective moving forward between now and then. But the energy is really, really, really big. You're right. And it does feel like the ish hitting the fan because there is unfortunately, or for, unfortunately is the wrong word, but this was a time that is, and many people listening know, was prophesized to be a time of huge remembering. And everyone who is, what is that? Like everyone who's kind of dug their feet into the sands and is trying to like hide essentially from what's happening, it's becoming harder and harder and harder to ignore everything that's happening. I mean, when you look around what's happening externally and the charade and the chaos and just like the sheer level of madness happening around us, it makes sense because things have to get so bad so that we're able, all of us in unity, to say, wow, this really doesn't work for us, what's happening on this planet. What can we do better? And unfortunately, the way through that, as I have been shown in my own life, is in a lot of ways to be met with some really serious hardships so that you're forced to say, like, what am I actually about? Who am I? What do I really care about?
Yeah, and who do I want to be, and what kind of life do I want to live, and what vision do I hold for the planet? You know what I mean? I think that's a really big piece because as we're stepping into the age of Aquarius, and I have an Aquarius moon in my chart, which I feel like very strongly drives my mission and purpose, which is really about facilitating the Great Awakening. And I feel so strongly now that this is more about like, well, what vision do I want to hold, not only for my own life, but for the planet, right? And I think that that's a really important thing that we're all kind of being faced with right now as we go through this like karmic reckoning, right? Where we have to kind of like look at these deeper patterns that we've been running, the ways that we've been unconscious, the ways that we've been hiding from ourselves, the ways that we've been betraying ourselves, the ways that we've compartmentalized ourselves. It's all coming forth right now. And it's uncomfortable because when you look at it in the collective, we can see it, right? We're seeing like all the fucked up shit that goes on, the corruption, everything, because all that stuff is coming to the surface to be cleared. But it's also happening on an individual level where we now have this really potent opportunity to clear a lot of that stuff, and on almost all of it in a lot of ways. And like you were saying, it can't be ignored, right? Like, and this is something that I saw in the very beginning of 2021 when I did my 2021 predictions. I said that it's going to be almost impossible to live in a way that's out of alignment for you. And I'm really seeing it with everyone, even like, friends I have who aren't necessarily on like a personal growth path, but who are like, you know what, like this isn't working for me anymore. Like I need to make a change in my life. I'm going to leave my job. I need to do this. I need to do that. Like it's happening in all areas where people are like really asking these bigger questions of like, what am I even doing? So that's happening like in a broader way. And then also for us as light workers and way showers and who are supposed to aid in this, it's really about like you said, not wasting any time and really doing the deeper work, and being 100% dedicated to doing that deeper work within yourself so that you can show up in the highest frequency possible and anchor that frequency onto the planet. Wait, hold on. I just want to say hi to everyone. So Emma, hi. Shannon, Roxy, hi. Valeria, Gabby. Hi, guys. I'm seeing Lydia. Oh, my God. That's awesome.
So we have such a powerful group.
I know. I'm so excited. And if you haven't said hi, definitely let us know that you're here so we can connect with your energy. Yeah, and feel free to ask questions too. We definitely are gonna take questions, right? Yeah. So yeah, and I'm trying to think if I missed anything as far as the prediction. So December feels like a tidal wave of like shit hitting the fan. It actually feels like shit hitting the fan and then a tidal wave coming. I'm just kidding. I mean, it kind of does feel like that, actually. But at the same time, and this is really interesting because I've been what's the word? I've been like having this experience where I'm like simultaneously feeling like, oh my God, like this is crazy. And also like this huge amount of excitement because I have like this inherent like feeling of like, this is like why I came here. Like, this is what I'm like meant to be here for. And I'm so excited to see what happens because we can all feel that like things are really, really, really shifting and changing. And it just feels like it's going to keep ramping up and intensifying more and more and more. So I'm kind of like excited to see what happens.
I am too. And I think one thing too, I want to just mention, a lot of you who are familiar with my story know this about me, but when 2020 hit, my guides literally were like, your entire life up until this point, which you already knew, was Olympic training for what is coming. And I survived 4 car accidents. I've nearly drowned twice. My dad passed away when I was a baby. Like, I've been insanely poor. My siblings have suffered from homelessness. My family lost a fortune. Like, it's like one thing after another for me. And it was always like that with me. But the thing that I always held true to, and what my guides told me literally when I was like 5 years old, was that no matter what happened, I had to keep my heart as light as a feather. I'm not going to pretend that things were pretty or looked good from the outside, or that anyone would have been like, yeah, oh, she is really keeping it together during the bad years. But what it showed me was very deeply that even in moments that seem like there is no hope, there is always hope. And there is always something much better coming when we're able. You and I both love Barbara Marciniak so much, her channels. And the P's who she channels call it black hole territory. And when you enter that black hole territory, if you're at the point of a black hole, you're gonna go, it's happening, right? So are you going to dive in no matter how scared you are, no matter how much you're like, what the F is happening in my life? But if you can take the dive in and keep doing the work, essentially, like my guide showed it to me the other day, sort of like a person trying to crawl out of a tunnel. And they showed me this client, like literally using his hands to like dig himself out of a tunnel. And they showed me that he was like literally this far away from the light. And I feel like that is such a huge thing for all of us to remember right now, is like, if nothing else, my own life has been such a testament to the fact that that light is always there waiting for us, no matter how ugly or hard things feel. And we all just have to keep, we just have to keep moving, no matter how chaotic things feel, no matter how bad or hard or whatever it is. And you, since you are very familiar with my own story, especially in the past couple of weeks, it also feels like we're being really set up for success. Those of us who are really taking the time, doing the work, getting the healing and the coaching and all of the help that we need, we really are having these. I have transmuted a number of crazy, karmic family patterns that went back generations, and things in my own life, like ridiculous repeating patterns of chaos in my own life. And I have broken them. And I've broken them in a way that has been really impactful and profound. And it's just remarkable, because as much as things are really wild right now, we have a lot of room. If we show up for ourselves, the world is our oyster.
Totally. And I just want to address, because what's coming through too, is I noticed there are a lot of people that are experiencing depression or like deep sadness, or really feeling like, well, what is the point of all this, you know? And that's something that I've been seeing with people, kind of, you know, coming up for them and what people are experiencing right now. And it's not uncommon, or it's not surprising, honestly. Like, I mean, you and I have talked about this, like being in a human body and like living on this planet is like a fucking shit show. Like, it's not easy. It really sucks, especially if you are tuned in and you can feel energy and you really understand what's going on. You're just like, what the fuck, you know? And I'm noticing a lot of people, you know, really feeling this like deeper like depression, or like kind of like lack of motivation of like, what is the point, or like, what am I even doing? And what I really want to say about that I feel like is so important is that's actually the most potent place that you could be. Because once you actually reach that point of like, why go on, or like that point of deep like despair, you've actually like gone to the depths of your being. And when you move through that and you really allow yourself to go into those feelings and feel that and take that journey, what's on the other side is your 5D timeline, is your greatest expression of who you really are, is you really stepping into what you're meant to be doing and really being able to have the space to channel the energy that's supposed to be coming through you and actually anchoring the frequency onto the planet that you're supposed to be anchoring. So just really, I want to share that because it's really important that we're able to see that for what it is, instead of just believing the thoughts around that to be true of like, you know, why go on and whatever, you know, all of the thoughts that go along with that feeling. But if you can just allow yourself to drop into the feeling and get support, obviously that's a non-negotiable in this situation. But if you can get support and come out the other side, that's where the magic happens. I mean, it's essentially the black hole like you're talking about. I'm just kind of like addressing it in a different way. But I just think it's really important right now because I think a lot of people are going through that to some degree, right? Especially like, you know, if you're just getting into starting to do the work, or you're just getting to a really deeper place within the work that you might not have been willing to go to before, now's the time to really transmute that and come out on the other side and really step into this place of like your fullest expression.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so. And it really does. It's giving us all such a profound opportunity because so many of us have found ourselves in situations, whether it's partnerships, geographic location, job stuff. Like there are so many different ways this manifests, but a lot of us found ourselves in situations that really did not align with like our actual authentic self. And last year was very much a global opportunity for all of us to step up and go inward and really, really meet those needs. And it's horrible. You know, I struggled with depression, anxiety, PTSD, like all kinds of things for a very long time. So I know how bad and how hard all of that feels. But if you can really like look at it and keep moving forward and feel it, that and I feel like your work is really powerful in that respect too, and the work that I do. But just I really encourage everyone to really like just lean in and feel it, even when it feels so bad that you can't even imagine it. You cannot keep that stuff trapped in your body. You cannot like, we don't have time at this point to do like 20, 30, 40, an entire lifetime's worth of like inner child journey and like, you know, like low key therapy. Like we are in it. It is a freight train bound for some kind of glory. And we are really being called to stop wasting our own time. You know, like I feel like there is just this really big way where it's like, feel it, release it, keep moving.
And also what also is the potency in that is when you do that, you gain a deeper understanding and access to your own energy. And what is really the key in how we step forward in creating a new version of reality is that you learn how to work with your own energy, you learn how to manage your own energy, and you really learn how to work in the quantum, manifest in the quantum, heal in the quantum. And the way you do that is by really understanding your own energy and how to work with it and manage it. And you can't do that unless you do the deeper trauma work, because you don't have the same access that you do unless you go through that. And that's really just like the truth in all of this is really learning how to manage your energy. And also the other piece additionally is learning how to hold energy, hold massive amounts of energy, when you're holding space for other people or holding the energy that's channeling through you and being able to transmit that. And that's something that is hard to do unless you do that deeper trauma work and really move through like your deepest, darkest feelings, or else you just don't have the capacity to hold energy for people and really be that lighthouse for people. So that's super important. Let's see if we have any questions.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. I don't know if we have any questions yet. Let's see. Roxy says, so many people I know are going through a deep depression right now, and it's making me want to step up in helping people see the light within themselves. Yeah, definitely. I needed to do a lot of that myself in order to see, but I feel like a shift has happened and I'm more energized to do that. Oh, good.
That's beautiful.
Emma says we don't have time, but we also are given the wave to ride that will allow us to witness and accept in faster ways. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So let us know if you guys have any questions about anything you're feeling for the fall or anything you want us to tune into. But I feel like we're all kind of feeling this same energy. I mean, I know it's like to varying degrees, but it's really about allowing yourself to go through this like transformation process. And it's also just about like, the other thing about this black hole I was going to say black hole technology, black hole like territory, so to speak, like being in the place of a black hole. It's like, it's actually like a birthing process, right? It's like the same thing as like going through like the birth canal and coming out on the other side completely reborn. Yeah. And there's a really huge power in that because I'm seeing this too with a lot of people is like, they're just completely changing. So, it's actually a process where we're all kind of being reborn. And then also like as a planet, we're being reborn, right? And we're completely shifting. Like, even if you look at, the astrology and what's happening, we're actually like moving into this place where we're having a completely different perception of reality. So like the way that we perceived reality in the past is going to completely shift, and we're moving into this more like cosmic and galactic perspective, which is a completely different energy that's moving on the planet. So like people's perspective is just going to completely shift just naturally.
Yeah. The number of people who are really waking up right now is just remarkable. It's remarkable. And I do really, I know in my own journey, one of the big ways that I have been able to succeed, especially so quickly in my own like transformation in business, I was always told that I was going to reach a point where my mission was going to be activated and it was just going to be time and I would know. And I literally woke up one day in 2020, I think that it was like March 13th or 14th, and I could feel that the energy had shifted. And I was like, oh my God, the thing I've been waiting for my entire life, the Great Awakening, it's on. Like, I was just like, oh my God, like I could feel that everything had changed. And I know for myself, and I've told you this quite a bit, but this year, February of this year for me was one of the hardest times of my life. I wanted to quit everything. I just felt so uninspired. It was challenging after, it was just like one thing after another. And I am seeing very much like when I was going through that time, I was being shown that it was in a lot of ways not just for my own catharsis, but so that I would be able to really help people who when people got to that point themselves. And it's super interesting because it feels like for a lot of very high level light workers at this point, it's hitting them now. Like I am really grateful that I went through that, like additionally very provocative, dark time in the winter months of this year, because it is making it so I've had a number of clients this week where I was like, yep, you are in the same place that I was in February. And I know that we're going to get you through this. Like you can get out of this, because if I can do it, then so can everyone else.
Yeah. And also, it's really just about moving through the feelings that you haven't allowed yourself to move through previously, right? So it's like, it's not like anything is like happening to you, or it's like this big thing that you need to understand. It's really very simple. And I always say, like, it's not rocket science. It's really just allowing yourself to acknowledge how you actually feel, how you actually felt in the past, not how you wish you felt, not how you wanted to feel, not how you think you should have felt, but how you actually felt, and then feeling it, right? Like that's really all it is. It seems more complicated than that, but it's actually just that simple. So what we're really seeing people doing is having like these experiences where they have to go through that process of deeply acknowledging how they actually felt on a deeper level. And that's the thing, like, I also want to address is like, you know, oftentimes people will be like, but like, I did this work around this thing and I've confronted this already and I've done this. And I'm like, yeah, but now you need to do it in a deeper level because you're going to a new level, right? So it's kind of like, we excavate and we dig up stuff and then we get to a new level. And then when you want to get to a new level, you have to go even deeper. It's kind of like a descension to ascension process where you're going down even deeper into the caverns and the depths of your being in order to rise up even higher. So it has to happen every time you go to the next level. It has to happen. So it's not like you failed or, oh my God, I'm still like dealing with this again. Like, no, it just comes up to be cleared even more when you're wanting to rise even higher. So that's just really important to remember that it's like, yeah, it becomes easier because you get better at dealing with it and you have the tools and you understand what's happening. Understanding what's happening is like half the battle. But once you get that piece of it down, then it becomes, you know, a lot easier to move through, right? But it's just about being able to recognize that really easily. Okay, wait, I wanted to look because I think we might have. Okay, so Roxy says, I wanted to present this thought. When we work with the universe and ask for signs, they come, but what I ask doesn't fully bring the meaning of that sign. Someone told me to look within to find the answers, but we are also knowing the universe works with us. So when we ask, it comes, but the meaning behind it doesn't come to fruition. How do you receive that and come to understand it? Does that make sense? It's a concept of working with the universe for manifestation versus not relying on external forces to tell us. Okay. So I think that this is making sense to me. So I think this is also about like learning to work with your own energy, so that you can affect the outcome, right? Because like if we're just like looking, like it's great to like look for a sign, right? Like that's good, but oftentimes like you don't need someone to tell you the deeper meaning. Like you can just know that or have that come from you, or sometimes you don't need to know the meaning of it. I find as well. Like, if I am outside and I start to like hear something, or like I start to notice something that's like in the air, or the leaves, whatever I notice, right? I don't really need to know what it means, but I can feel that it's my connection to the quantum field, that's my energy intermingling with the energy of all that is, right? So I'm able to really like just notice my connection to all that is, and then use my energy to inform and have an intentionality over the energetic field that I'm experiencing, right? So like it's less about looking for like feedback and more about like creating the feedback, is kind of how I see it. I don't know if that answers your question. But that's kind of how I see it, where it's like you create with your intention what you want to experience. And then anything that you find that's like blocking you or in your way is just something for you to look at in order to continue to move forward down the path. Does that make sense? Andrea, do you want to add to that?
Yeah, that does make sense. To me, it makes a lot of sense. And I think a lot of times too, when, I do this where I'm like, oh, I, want a sign. And I'll tell you, I've had some funny experiences this week where I've gotten that thing about the music was obviously a wild sign. The night before, I was making a joke to my guides about something, and I saw this crazy flash of light in my window. And I was like, what just happened? And then it happened again. And there's just this way, like, yes, the external signs can be so amazing and so inspiring, and also help to make sure that we're like on the right track. And there is this other way we're also going inward. I know I have been like, I feel like a harpy about this. Like I just have been saying it so much for the past year. But if people don't have a spiritual practice, it doesn't matter what your spiritual practice is. Like you could sit in really profound, very like traditional style meditation for an hour every day, and maybe that's what really works for you. But there's a rainbow of ways that, maybe your thing is meditative cooking, or going on long walks, or, joining an intramural sports league. Like there are a million ways for us to find what our practice is. But I think the other thing is that for people to really spend time right now being quiet, even if it feels impossible and even if it feels hard. I woke up this morning, I'm in the process right now of moving. That has been a huge trust fall for me. I don't know where I'm going to be after November. If there's a way that I could have been triggered in the way this is coming out, it has triggered me, right? But the thing is, I can also see like my guides are calling what I'm embarking on right now a fun venture. And I'm really leaning into it. I'm really just taking the bull by the horns, taking that trust dive, and it's working out better than I could have imagined. And I also woke up today and I had a lot of physical anxiety. And I knew that I needed to do some meditation. I do meditation every morning and I ground myself. I have this whole technique that I use, and I wasn't doing it. And I could feel the like physical anxiety in my body. And I was like trying to avoid it. I was like, can't I just feel better? It was almost like I was like negotiating with my guides, and they were like, well, you know what you need, what you need to do. So there is this way also where we do really need to spend as much time as we possibly can, even if that's 5 minutes a day, just being quiet, even if it feels excruciating, and just let all of that come up, because that's when you really lean into and feel those emotions too, and you're able to process things. And if nothing else, just like really look yourself in the mirror. Like that's one of the things my guides keep showing me this week, especially with like clients that I've been in, is we really have this opportunity right now to look at what's happening from like a global perspective and say, how is that mirrored in my own life? Like, what can I do to serve myself better? How have I like stopped caring for myself? And you said something really interesting a little bit ago about like the ways that we think we should feel. And I think that that's a really big thing that we're all addressing right now. And it's tied into something that you and I have both said for a while, which is like one of the biggest things we're in the midst of right now is that we are having a global reckoning with the fact that we've always been taught from the time most of us were born, depending on where on the globe we are, you know, obviously it can be like heightened or not in some ways, but to look outside of ourselves. To look to our religious figures and our government and our families and all of these people. So that concept of should really needs to go out the window, because most of us have been living our lives on this planet doing what we think we should do to fit into a box, to fit into a narrative, to make all these external social systems that are clearly not here to help us or genuinely protect us in a way, to say, I don't actually need those things. No matter how bad my life gets, I am the one who is responsible for it. And that is both really overwhelming and scary, but it's also really powerful and beautiful. And it ties into exactly then that next thing that you were talking about like really leaning into the fact that if we can feel the feelings and we can move through them and get ample support, right? I mean, both you and I have watched you and I like rocket to the moon in the past year. You and I get more support than almost any other people that I know of. And it is reflected heavily in how fast you and I have been able to move through things this year. And I hear a lot of people fuss. I know like money is coming through right now very big for me. It's just something that I want to bring up too, is I know that it can get really scary. Making huge investments in yourself can feel like a lot, but my guides have been saying it for months. You are your own rainy day fund. What is a bunch of money in a savings account going to do for you if in a year our entire financial system has changed? So there are these ways that we have to stop being scared by the external, and we have to start saying, what am I going to do to take care of myself? What am I going to do to ensure that even as these systems fall, even as we go through this collective experience of like phoenixing as a planet, there are ways that you can be very protected and very taken care of. And it, you know, it's not always going to be pretty, but there are these really big ways that we need to come to terms with like, what is it that I really want? Not what can I do to make my partner feel better? What can I do to make my boss feel better? What can I do to make my parents feel safe and my siblings and all of this stuff? And I'm not, you know, advocating being a jerk in any capacity, but there is this way that it is really time to say, what is it that I want and need? I don't care whether it looks like, you know, where I should be at this point in my life based on the, you know, Western narrative or wherever it is, like in my case, that, you know, but it's really time for us to just be like, I am the one at the helm of this ship, and I get to craft the life that I want that's going to support me and help the planet.
Exactly, 100%. And also, like, again, I come back to learning how to work with energy, because once again, we come back to the fact that everything we've taught is actually the opposite. Everything we've been taught is actually the opposite. So we've been taught about money, like, oh, you need to like not spend money and scrimp and save and like be smart or whatever with your money in order to have a lot of money. And it actually doesn't work like that. Surprise, surprise. And what is really happening on an energetic level with money and with everything else is when you step forward in a big way energetically with money, that is reflected back to you. And it's the same energetically, right? Like when you step forward in a big way energetically and you claim, this is the kind of life I want to have, this is who I am, this is how I want to be, that gets reflected back to you, right? Where the universe shows up to support you. And it's the same thing with money. When you make big investments in yourself, when you show up and you say like, you know what, I'm doing this, I'm claiming that this is who I am, the universe always steps up and you make even more money. You grow in an even faster way and you really start to be fully expressed. And that's what this is all about. So it's hard. You know, I was talking with a client earlier today. It's hard to deprogram from that because it feels scary. And also you have this idea of like, you know, your family or other people like being like, what the fuck is she doing? Like not really understanding it because it's such a different way of living. But this is the way that you create the new earth. This is the way that you step into the 5D timeline, is you learn how to work with energy. And this is how it is. So I just want to say, because I'm looking at time and I do have a call at 3. But just in that vein, we could probably talk for a second about what we both are up to, because I know that you and I are up to like some really powerful things right now. And speaking of learning how to work with your own energy and the magic that's involved in that, my container, the Quantum Accelerator, is now open for enrollment. And this is exactly what this container is about, is learning how to work with your own energy. It's about quantum manifestation, quantum healing, and really being able to activate and awaken these dormant pieces within you to release whatever is holding you back from anchoring your unique frequency onto the planet. And I'm going to be channeling these energetic attunements and these frequency upgrades to help you really step into this 5D timeline version of you that's able to anchor your unique frequency onto the planet and really step forward in this fully expressed way. And like, it's so funny because this container, you guys, like the energy that's running through me, like I've been having these moments where like I was driving and all of a sudden I could like feel the energy of this container running through my body. My whole body started shaking and I literally just started crying. Because the energy of this container is that powerful, and I'm still getting my energy around it and just being able to like explain what it is to people. I also feel like it has to be felt. It's an experience because the energies that I channel through and transmit to you just create an activation where you then have a better understanding and a deeper understanding of who you really are on a multidimensional level, why you came to this planet, and an activation of being able to fully express that and share that. So I will put the details about that below, and you can message me for more information about signing up. But right now, it's open for enrollment. It's probably going to close at the end of next week. And yeah, I'm super excited for it because everyone who comes into this, it's going to be like just a life-altering, magical journey. So that's that. And Andrea, what do you have happening?
I have 2 things. One of them ends today. If anyone is interested, I have a couple spots left in a fall fire sale that I'm doing, which is 4 1.5-hour sessions that need to be used by the end of the year, which is heavily discounted. I have seen unbelievable results with that. I did that a couple of weeks ago and I was guided to re-offer it. So if anyone is thinking about doing that, I have an extended payment plan on that, and the results are unbelievable up to this point. And that offer ends today. So it's 4 sessions for $19.95 spread out over 5 months. And then the other thing that I have, which I have been working on for a long time, and it's funny because I got the same phrase, attunement, as it related to this by my own guides. And it's interesting too, because that sense of attunement is a word that I learned a very long time ago when I learned how to do Reiki. And I just feel like it's you described it so beautifully, that it's about you like sharing something that then creates this really evocative personal experience, and you take it and make it your own. So I have Angelic Alchemy Academy, which is going to be launching in October. It's going to be a group container. I have received in the past couple of weeks the New Earth love codes, the New Earth money codes. I received something the other day when you were talking about like shaking and having such an overwhelming experience. I got the New Earth freedom codes a couple of days ago. And I was laying in my bed and my entire body was like shaking so much that I was in awe myself of what was happening. So I feel like that is a really super fun, that's going to be a group container. It's going to be really amazing. It's going to be spread out over 7 weeks, and that is launching at the end of October. So I will be doing pre-sale starting next week. So more details to come on that. But if you do want to claim a spot in that, reach out to me, because it's going to be it's going to be amazing. And I really can't wait to see how it plays out. It's going to be beautiful.
Yay. Yeah, I mean, I think for both of us right now, and we both like work with each other as clients, so we know the power of each other's work and our results of each other's work. So I don't think like, there's not much more to say about that. It's obvious, but I think the energies coming through both of us right now are incredibly powerful. And like what I keep being shown is it's just much more about the transmission of energy, which is incredibly activating to anybody who is in the presence of either one of us, like, because that's really what it's about, is this energetic transmission and this energetic like upgrade as we really shift into this new paradigm. And it's so important to plug in to the energies that feel aligned for you for this like frequency upgrade that we're going through.
Yeah. And both you and I really have the capacity to, like, on the note of that word, like attunement and tune and sound, and like you guys have watched me now this whole time playing like, the air harp, right? There's this way that Elise and I both have the capacity to really quickly tune and like retune and attune and shift your energy to the point that after a session with either one of us, the things that our clients experience are so profound and so wild, like going from making 50K a month to making 100K a month with like almost nothing in between. Like there's just this way where if you show up for yourself, even when it feels scary, the sky is the limit. Like there is and I have witnessed so much, especially in the past year, just how much nothing that I've ever done in a lot of ways from a 3D perspective ever should have worked. There's no, like, I should have, like, my life was messy, but it could have been way more chaotic. And there is just this way that, like, especially working with you, doing the work on myself, the ways that, like, my own modality have changed me, it's been remarkable to see how much and just how, like, it's really inspiring, and it's dynamic, and it's fun, and it gives me an enormous amount of hope, because watching how much you and I have shifted in the past year, it really does like perfectly show both you and I and everyone around us how much potential we all have. Like you and I really agreed to come here to show people what was possible, to be literally living examples of divinity in action. And so I encourage anyone who's thinking about working with one or both of us to take the deep dive. Oh my gosh. And we also have a joint. Which is apparently my long-winded way of saying another option that you have for working with us, which we have seen unbelievable results in as well, is we have a joint coaching container, which is 3 months long. And if anyone wants to talk with us more about that, it's called Celestial Acceleration, and we would be happy to jump on a call with you if you were interested in doing that with us.
Yeah, that's the real deal right there.
Oh, this was so fun. Thank you, Elise. This was really, and everyone, thank you all for being here with us.
Guys, and definitely we'll be back. Oh, Sunday, you guys have to join me for my Palladium portal activation. Sunday at 6 p.m. I'm so excited for it.
Awesome.
So yeah, we'll see everyone then. Bye.
Bye.